Flat revenue is one of the most frustrating places to be. You're not failing. You're not lazy. You're not out of ideas. You're just stuck in motion instead of traction. I see this constantly. Smart founders, strong offers, good teams, but revenue is flat. Not crashing, not growing, just stubbornly stuck. So today I'm walking you through what I'd fix first if I stepped into your business tomorrow as your CRO. Oh, and spoiler alert, it's almost never leads. Independence isn't just about where you go. It's about how well you live when you get there. That's why I am genuinely excited about Indie Stove, because it completely changes what outdoor and off-grid cooking looks like. Indie Stove is an ultra-portable, collapsible stove that fits basically anywhere, but performs like a real kitchen tool. It heats up in minutes, holds up in wind, rain, and rugged terrain, and works with multiple fuel sources, propane, butane, or wood pellets. So you're never limited by where you are and what's available. But here's where it gets fun. This isn't just about boiling water. With Indie Stove's modular accessories, you can actually cook. The workspace stack gives you sturdy side sleeves, so your cookware, ingredients, and tools are right there when you need them most. No balancing acts, no chaos. The skewer stack lets you grill kebabs, vegetables, or skewered meals evenly with non-sag skewers designed for real heat control. And yes, people are baking chocolate chip cookies off the grid. Fresh cookies in the middle of nowhere. That is not survival, that's luxury. Indie Stove is built for people who want freedom without giving up quality. Real meals, real control, real independence. Whether you're camping, overlanding, prepping for emergencies, or just choosing a life that isn't tied to outlets and crowded kitchens. And because you're a Revenue Rascals listener, you get something extra. Use code Revenue Rascals at checkout and you'll receive a free workspace stack with your purchase of a stove, valued at $120. That's Revenue Rascals at indiestove.com. Because independence should taste incredible. So let's define flat revenue, because this part really matters. Flat revenue looks like sales activity is high, but results are inconsistent. Launches or pushes, promotions feel heavier than they used to, and you're working harder to make the same amount of money. And while forecasting feels like guessing, not knowing, flat revenue is rarely an effort problem. It's just a signal problem. Something in the engine is just simply unclear, inconsistent, or undocumented. It's time for Rascal Ramp. Unfiltered truth, straight talk, no fluff. So here's my hot take. When revenue is flat, founders default to the loudest lever instead of the right one. The lever is usually, we need more leads. We should try a new channel. Maybe it's the sales team. Let's tweak the offer again. Flat revenue isn't just about more. It's about cleaner, tighter, simpler. Cleaner messages, cleaner process, cleaner focus. And this is the thing. Busy is not a sales strategy, and motion will lie to you if you let it. Welcome to Why This Works and Why It Doesn't. Real strategies, real results, no sugarcoating. So this is why the add more leads concept simply does not work if you're solving for the wrong problem. So first of all, it hides the real bottleneck. It increases chaos instead of clarity, and it exhausts teams without improving conversion. If your sales engine is leaking, more leads just make a bigger mess. And I cannot tell you how many times I have jumped into a spreadsheet, a CRM, whatever which way people are tracking their leads these days. And my head wants to explode. There's no process. There's inconsistency. The follow-up's not always there. There is so much that is leaking out. And the other thing is, if you're an established business, and that's who I'm talking to right now, the first place you should be going to is not brand new leads that cost a bunch of money and are harder to convert. How can you go back and serve the clients or the customers you've served before or currently are to upsell or to get them back into your business using whatever services you provide or whatever product you sell? This is going to be the easiest way to fix that flat revenue. What would I do first instead of just randomly adding leads? Here is my CRO order of operations. So the first thing is offer clarity. Now, I want to be really clear. It's not the offer itself. If I came into businesses and was like, hey, we're going to throw your offer out the window and start all over, I probably wouldn't be here hosting a podcast because I would be a failure consistently. So what you do instead is you don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater. I love that slogan, by the way. It's the truth is that most offers or products or services, they're not broken. They're just confusing. So confusing. I actually play this game with my kids. So they're my little business assistants. They help me with a lot of things in my business, actually, like from marketing to content. I get insights from them, perspective, and it's really, really fun. But I have this thing where anytime I'm working with a client, I show my 9-year-old and my 13-year-old the homepage of their website. And I'm like, what do you think they do? Now, the 9-year-old, right? You might get some kind of like funny responses from her, but my 13-year-old, he's now started like 3 businesses on his own, just neighborhood types of stuff that I've helped him with. Like, he gets it. And let me tell you, if he doesn't know what your product or service does in a really simple way, I use him as my gauge that it's time to change it. Now, you might be thinking, what? Michelle's using her 13-year-old to inform her business decisions? But this is the thing. If you can't explain your offer back to me in one sentence, your buyer cannot buy it. I look for too many options, too many pathways, inconsistent language across marketing and sales, and really, really vague communication on the website, the pitch decks, everything. Because this is the deal. When you are growing a business and, typically like if you're a B2B service provider, for example, and I help a lot of B2B service providers, the founder is usually tied to the brand somewhere. And that is essentially how probably the first couple of $1 million was made, was just because who the founder was and how the founder could sell. And it didn't really matter too much about these little tiny things. But as you scale, as you grow, as you hire team members, as you don't want to be the only person selling or delivering in the organization, it needs to be really, really simple. So simple. And so if the messaging is confusing, then that makes the prospecting confusing. That makes the upsell confusing. And it's just a giant mess. So that is why I leverage my 13-year-old. And if you're listening to me right now and you are also a CRO or sales executive or a marketing leader, a GTM operator, try it on your kiddos. I'm telling you, you're going to get so many insights. It's quite fun. So this is the deal. What I want you to remember is complexity kills conversion. That's it. Fix number 2 is the sales process. And spoiler alert, it's not always the sales team. Flat revenue makes sales feel emotional, which is really hard for your sales team and the founder CEO because you want to grow so badly. You know what you've created is helping people, helping companies. You're excited about it. You're scaling for a reason. Maybe you're scaling to exit and go retire on the beach. Maybe you're scaling so that you can acquire through growth. There are so many different scenarios out there. But the problem is that when things aren't going the way you want, people tend to get really emotional. And when you're super emotional, you come off desperate, your communication is sour, you may lose team members, you may lose clients. And as hard as it is, because we're humans, like the emotional restraint and the control and the calmness is really mission critical. And you can only get there by just being really honest with yourself with your sales process. Why? Well, because most processes live in people's heads. Unless it's documented, everyone's following it. Back in the day, I used to create an SOP or a training. And honestly, it lasted for a while. I didn't need to update it that often. Now with AI, advanced tech, the way that buyers have shifted the way they're consuming, purchasing everything. Oh my gosh, those SOPs, nope. They need to be updated constantly. And you just need to take a moment and make sure that something in your sales process is not broken. Now, I'll be careful here. You don't want to also get trapped by shiny object syndrome. So spend less time on LinkedIn being told how you should fix your, lead gen or anything else. And just have some calm time with yourself. And the cool thing is I'm creating a checklist. And if you've been following the show, you know that I created a portal for all my free resources that are accompanied by my solo episodes. So the cool thing is you only have to sign up once. And every time there's a solo episode, you get a new free resource. Pretty cool, right? And I made this decision because if you're anything like me, you don't want to just all the time have to remember to go sign up and download something. So I'm let's just make this easy peasy. So we have one portal, completely free. So the link is in the show notes. Jump in there, get your free resources, and let's make this happen. If you've also been here for a long time, you know that the free resources I'm creating are actually valuable. And they're things that I use with my client work. And so they are powerful and should be used. So please go do it. All right. So this is where we check when it comes to the sales process, where deals consistently stall. Now, what I mean by where is I identify it as a stage. Is the stage we can't get booked calls? That's interesting. Or is the stage we have all of these calls, reps or founders think they're going to close, and then it's nothing's there. No one's replying. You're being ghosted. They're negotiating. They're pushing back. And it's what the heck happened on that discovery call, right? Or even worse, there's no follow-up. I can literally think of probably 15 things that I considered purchasing, high ticket B2B service providers in 2025 for myself and for all of my clients. And I would say only 4 consistently followed up with me out of the 15. The reason why I'm sharing this is I may have decided to move forward with more than a few of them if I had seen the follow-up and helping me make the right decision for my client or myself. I really value that. I actually really value smart, wonderful salespeople. And that didn't happen. So for me, if I don't like the sales process, I'm not purchasing ever. I don't even care if it's the best product and it's been voted across all boards, what it tells. And I've never been wrong, guys. I've never been wrong in this one. If the sales process sucks, so does the service. It carries right on through. So it is incredibly crucial that you tighten this up for client customer experience. And the next thing is where deals fall off consistently, whether follow-up is disciplined or reactive. Reactive follow-up is literally the worst thing ever. And then lastly, if anyone can clearly answer why deals are lost. So if I walk into a room of your sales team and I say, hey, why are we losing? And I get, we're too expensive, or, there's just too much competitors, blah, 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 blah. I'm holy moly, guacamole. Everybody stop. We're not doing this right now. Yeah, every business struggles with that stuff. Really, why aren't they? Right? Really, why aren't they purchasing? Your sales team, if built correctly, should be like mini business consultants that can identify these problems, communicate it back to you, and help solve and grow your business. If they can't do that, they're not professional sellers and shouldn't be working for you, period. They should go back to a junior role where that's not expected. Next, when sales is systemized, revenue becomes predictable. I'm going to say that again because it's really important. When sales is systemized, revenue becomes predictable. When it's not, everything feels personal, and we're going back to that emotional state. I am the least emotional seller in the world. I never get emotionally tied to it because that takes me out of my role. My role is to be the calm, confident educator and help in making a good decision. I'm not there to convince. I'm not there to manipulate. I'm not there to just like twist the knife in some emotional torture zone that you've experienced and re-trigger you. Ugh, right? You don't need any of that. You need to stay calm, collective, and confident, even if inside you're totally freaking out. That is the key part. Follow the process, make the sales, keep the emotions out of it. So fix number 3, lead handling, speed and discipline. Whew, speed and discipline. Pretty powerful. I think about that when I'm skiing. I skied a little bit as a kid. So probably like 1 week out of the year, we would take a family trip. But anyone who knows anything about skiing, 5 days on the snow per year, not really going to make you that great. Was it a cool family experience and have all these fond memories? 100%. But like, I actually think you need 20 days per season to see your skills progress. Although I had dabbled with skiing and snowboarding growing up, it wasn't until my husband wanted to move us to Park City to ski. And I was like, oh, okay, so I should probably get really good at this. So last year, my daughter was 8, my son was 12, and then we had my husband, and everyone beat me down the mountain. And we went to Jackson Hole. And if anyone's ever skied Jackson Hole, it's like an extremely technical mountain. And and I just struggled the whole time. I think there was like 3 feet of snow the 2 days we were there or something. And, you know, I was really kind of mad at myself. I'm like, I need the speed. I need the discipline. And so this year I signed up for a special locals women's program in Park City so I could get that technical part so that I could get the speed and the discipline. So what's interesting to me now is, you know, they would say, trust your edges, trust your skis. And I'm like, yeah, so I mostly do now. So like that fear part is gone. So now it's the speed is going because the fear is gone. I even ride on the edge of the hill because I don't want to get hit by the, I would call them the Barneys coming down the middle that tackle everyone. But I would have been scared on the side even just 2 seasons ago. And I know it's like not going to happen, but I always felt like I was going to fall off the side mountain. So anywho, I got the speed. I got rid of the fear. Super powerful. And now I need the discipline to hold my technique, because what I've noticed is now that I don't have the fear and I'm just excited, like I will lose the discipline of my form to go faster because I think it's really fun and thrilling. So same thing goes for lead handling, speed and discipline. I'm going to say something right now. The speed part, oh my gosh, please let AI and automations help you with the initial speed. The reason why I bring this up is it is very antiquated and very old school to think that a BDR, SDR, or full cycle salesperson is going to respond the second there is an inbound lead or somebody needs a follow-up that day. I hate to break it to you, but everyone's being asked to do more than they've ever done before, and it's not going to happen. So you absolutely 100% need AI and automation inside your business to do that initial nurture, conversion, and keeping them going. I'll give you an example. So one of my clients from 2025, oh my gosh, they're killing it on paid media. Inbound leads, crushing, okay? But the problem is most of their inbound leads were coming late at night. Why? Because they were selling to founders of startups. So do you think a founder of a startup is spending like their first 8 hours of the day tinkering with another B2B offer and like taking sales calls and Googling? Like, no. No, most of them are not. They wait until 10 o'clock at night when they have some quiet to do these things. This is the persona of a startup founder. So you have to know who you're selling to. When the leads would come in, so it was like a great funnel. So you like lead, and then the thank you page is, book your meeting, right? Well, couldn't even keep the attention span of the founders that long to get on the thank you page to book the meeting. Okay. Also, know your ICP. I can tell you that right now, like squirrels. I think almost every single founder or entrepreneur can identify a little bit with having ADHD. We were losing all of this momentum because if you know anything about leads, the second they come in is the hottest time that you have to convert them to the next step in your sales process. So even a few hours delay, that person could be over it or found somebody else. So what we did is anyone who didn't book on that thank you page got an immediate follow-up through our AI sales agent to make sure that the meeting was booked. It was a series, I think, of like 5 or 7 interactions. And what was really cool is that humans, the BDR teams and leads, were copied on the emails, and the AI knew when to back off if they couldn't answer questions. Plus, there was like some human control layer there. Beautiful. I mean, the conversions went through the roof. And I should probably do an entire episode on this and share some of those stats, but we're just going to say it really worked. So, speed and discipline. So what is it? It's not a lead problem. It's a response problem. I audit the time to first response, what actually happens after that initial call, and whether follow-up adds value or is just checking in. Please, anyone listening to me right now, remove checking in from your vocabulary. Leads don't go cold. They get abandoned. And that's just what it is. So we can't abandon them. So that's fix number 3. Now, fix number 4 is focus. And this is truly the quiet revenue killer. Okay. Flat revenue often shows up when priorities blur. Too many initiatives, too many important projects, no clear revenue move. Revenue grows when focus sharpens. Now, depending on who's listening to this episode, if you're a founder or a revenue leader, I want you to think about the demands that you put on your team and how often you're changing your priorities, how often you're moving the carrot, everything. Like, I understand business is fast and people need to keep up, but it is your job to keep priorities super clear and keep them focused, period. And I want you to really think about when you ask somebody to do something, what does it take them away from? And if you're willing to take them away from that for whatever it's new, then perhaps it should be considered.
All right, Rascals, let me ask you this. How much money have you wasted replacing shoes, sneakers, or even bags that could have lasted way longer if only you'd been taken better care of them? I know for me, running from meetings to kids' activities, life gets messy fast. And that's why I always have Jason Mark Quick Wipes on hand. Jason Mark is trusted care to help you get the most out of what you wear. They're not just about cleaning. They're about protecting what you love while protecting the planet. Their wipes are now 100% plant-based and plastic-free, made from renewable lyocell fibers. They're individually wrapped so you can toss them in your bag, your car, or like me, your kids' backpacks. And it's not just convenience. Jason Mark is part of the worldwide B Corp movement, meeting the highest standards for social and environmental impact. They're EPA Safer Choice certified, so you know the formulas are safe for your family. And their products are USDA, bio-based and certified biodegradable. That means no harmful junk like PFAS or VOCs. Just high-performance care that keeps your stuff looking fresh while doing right by the planet. Personally, as a busy mom and entrepreneur, Quick Wipes are my favorite. They've saved my sneakers from coffee spills, playground dust, you name it. One wipe and I'm ready to walk into my next meeting looking sharp. So here's the deal. Go to jasonmark.com and use promo code RevenueRascals at checkout for 25% off your order. One time per customer. Again, that's jasonmark.com, code RevenueRascals. And remember, this podcast is free. thanks to sponsors like Jason Mark, I'm ungating sales strategies people pay me six figures for. So go support them, grab your quick wipes or your favorite product, and keep your kicks looking fresh. You're in the coaching corner where we stop talking and start taking action.
How do I know if it's a sales problem or a strategy problem? So this is a great question, and I'm going to give it a great answer. If the process is working, emails are going out, calls are getting booked, leads are coming in, everything feels good, and then nothing ever closes. Like nothing closes. So everything up, like its sales process is so tight, marketing's tight, everything is tight. And then anything that happens post sales call just goes, that is how you know it is likely a sales problem and not necessarily a strategy problem. Because if you can get them that far, then it's most likely telling you, exactly that it is a sales problem that someone can't close. I will say though, with the caveat of listen to those sales calls and make sure that they're following the script or the syntax, that they're doing the pitch right, that they're saying things that are accurate. Because that clearly, if that's not happening, it's also a strategy problem, sales enablement problem. They're not using the right tools or the right communication methods, okay? If everything feels haphazard, like you're like, whoa, I got a client today. How did that happen? Or I have a new customer. How did that happen? And you can't make sense of it and you can't figure out where they came from, why they converted, who converted them, how you double down on that. Then that's going to feel really inconsistent. That's going to feel scary. That's a strategy problem that needs to get figured out because that's just way too stressful, people. Okay. So that's the difference between if it's a sales problem or a strategy, / process problem. And I always like to say if the deals are inconsistent, process issue. If deals are slow, clarity issue. If deals are stalled, focus issue. So the next question we have is, what's one thing I should stop doing immediately? Stop adding new tactics. As soon as there's a problem, you should not go automatically to new tactic. Do the research, use the checklist that I'm going to provide here for free to go through and find what you need to address. Because every time you put a new sales motion in play or you do a new tactic, I'm just going to guesstimate, probably takes 30 hours to do something like that from whoever is operating the change. Then it's going to take another 10 to 15 active hours for someone to learn how to do it. So that's basically an entire week of work or more. So is that really necessary? Do you want to do that to your team? Ask yourself that question. Next is stop changing messaging. Stop it. Okay. You're confusing people. I remember one time I heard somebody say that it's not about, so for a content creation or a messaging strategy, it's not about saying a little about a lot. It's about saying a lot about a little. And the reason why that is so important is that when people think of, for example, I hope I'm saying over and over and over and over again that I'm a fractional CRO and specializes in sales team performance and sales enablement creation. Okay. And if that's not sticking and if I'm not consistent with that message, people are going to forget about me. They're not going to know if they should work with me or not. All of the things. Okay. So you have to say a lot about a little. Okay. And the other thing, this is really painful for a scaling startup. And honestly, it's painful for any size organization. Stop solving symptoms instead of systems. Now, what does this mean? It's not taking the time to do things the right way because you've run out of time or you don't know how, or you're just trying to make the next sale. This is a painful one. And it's also a really painful one for a CRO like myself to come into because I know the way that it should be set up. But do I have enough time? Was I given enough time to do it right and then execute it? Most of the time, when I come into an organization, everything's already burning down. Fire. Okay. And I'm like a firefighter coming in and putting out the fires and just trying to get, the building from falling over and everybody happy again. I really, really, really wish that founders would come find me or someone similar to me before the place was on fire. The reason why is that if you can hire someone like myself, a GTM expert, sales expert, revenue expert, to come in and set up things right the first way, then you have the absolute momentum that you need to move into the stratosphere. If businesses could do that, would you see a lot more successful businesses? So please don't wait that long. Pause, clean, then scale.
Let's bring it home. Rascal wrap-up time. Key takeaways and a resource to keep you winning.
Flat revenue isn't failure. It's simply a checkpoint. And if you know what to fix, it's usually the fastest phase to move through. So this week, I'm challenging you. Don't add anything new. Instead, answer this question honestly. What part of my sales engine is unclear, inconsistent, or my favorite, undocumented? And that is where the growth is hiding. So remember, jump into my new portal. You're going to love it. And your checklist will be there for you, along with all of the resources I'm providing on Revenue Rascals moving forward. Till next time, stay rascal, my friends.
Thanks for listening to Revenue Rascals, where we turn bold ideas into predictable revenue and prove that breaking the rules can still build empires. If you love what you heard, do me a favor. Tap the links in the show notes to support our sponsors. They're the ones keeping this show free so I can keep ungating the six-figure strategies that help you scale faster, lead smarter, and take more freedom home with you. And hey, if you think you'd make an incredible guest or know someone who's built something worth studying, email me at hello@michelleterpstra.com. And until next time, stay sharp, stay bold, and stay just a little bit rascal.